Okay, so let's talk about the factory floor. It is changing so much faster than you can possibly imagine. It's not just about conveyor belts and heavy machinery anymore. We're right in the middle of this massive technological shift that is completely rewriting the rules of manufacturing. So, what does this new factory of the future really look like? Let's dive in.
At the very heart of all this change is this idea called Industry 4.0. You can basically think of it as the fourth industrial revolution, and it's all about connecting the digital world with the physical one. Every single machine, every process, every little piece of the supply chain, they all start talking to each other, sharing data to get smarter and way more efficient.
And just to be super clear, this is so much more than just sticking a few robots on an assembly line. This is a fundamental ground-up change. We're talking about factories that can literally predict when they need maintenance, supply chains that can adjust on the fly, and production lines that are being optimized by AI.
So when you change the rules that dramatically, what does that mean for the actual people who work there? Well, it means a whole new generation of jobs is popping up right now, creating a completely new kind of workforce.
First up, you've got the robotics engineer. These folks are basically the architects of the new factory floor. They're using computer science and engineering to design, build, and roll out all the automated machines that are fast becoming the backbone of modern production.
But who keeps all these incredibly complex systems up and running? That would be the automation technician. Think of them as the expert mechanics and IT pros of the factory all rolled into one. They maintain, they diagnose, and they repair all the sophisticated computer-controlled systems that make everything go.
And with every machine spitting out a constant stream of information, you need somebody to make sense of it all. So say hello to the industrial data scientist. They're the ones who dive into these floods of data from the manufacturing process to find hidden efficiencies, solve really tough problems, and just make the whole operation smarter.
Okay, these jobs sound incredibly advanced, and believe me, they are. So the big question is, does that high-level skill set actually translate into a high-value career? Let's take a look at the numbers.
We actually pulled data directly from the Vanderhouen salary guide to see what these skills are commanding on the open market. And spoiler alert, it's quite a bit.
Now, check out these ranges. An automation engineer can earn up to $129,000. A robotics engineer, the people who are actually building these machines, they can pull in over $140,000. And if you climb the ladder into management, an engineering manager can command over $200,000 a year. The value of these skills is, well, crystal clear.
And believe it or not, the ceiling is even higher than that. For a top leadership role, say a vice president of engineering, the high-end salary can push past $250,000. That just shows you the incredible career potential in this new industrial world.
Okay, so we've got new jobs and high salaries. Everything looks great, right? Well, there's a catch. With every single machine connected to a network, this massive, often overlooked vulnerability starts to appear. So what's the hidden risk? The very connectivity that makes these factories so efficient also makes them a giant target for cyber attacks. We're not just protecting office computers anymore. I want you to imagine a hacker, thousands of miles away, shutting down a multi-million-dollar production line with just a few keystrokes. Or even worse, subtly changing the formula for a life-saving drug. That is the new reality.
And look, this isn't some far-off science fiction threat. A report from MXD, that's the National Digital Manufacturing Institute, puts it pretty bluntly. They say the challenge is securing assets across the entire product lifecycle, from the first digital design all the way to the final product out in the world.
So what's at risk? The simple answer is everything. We're talking about the digital blueprints for your next product, the secret materials you use, the unique processes that give you a competitive edge, the physical plants themselves, and even your finished products. All of it is now a potential target.
A threat on this scale demands a completely new type of defense and a whole new kind of defender. This has led to the rise of what experts are now calling the Cyber ME workforce.
So, Cyber Me, what is that? It stands for Cyber in Manufacturing Enterprise. This is a specialized group of professionals who aren't just your standard cybersecurity experts. They are manufacturing security experts. Their entire mission is to protect the whole operation from end to end.
And let's be really clear about how different this is. Traditional IT security, that's all about protecting office networks, your email, data centers. But Cyber ME professionals, they're focused on securing the entire product lifecycle, protecting the actual robots on the factory floor, and even securing the supply chain. It is a much bigger, way more complex battlefield.
And this really gets to the heart of what makes this role so special. It's a hybrid. It's not enough to be a cybersecurity guru anymore. You also have to deeply understand manufacturing, what the MXD report calls the legacy of production. You have to know how the factory floor really works to have any chance of protecting it.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? As factories become more automated, more connected, who becomes more valuable to the company's success? Is it the engineer who builds the next great robot? Or is it the cyber warrior who defends the entire system from attack? The answer to that is probably going to define the next chapter of industry.